What's up, guys? It's Nate, One Man's Odyssey. Today, doing another day hike adventure in northern New Mexico. Plan today, plan A, really the only plan I guess, is to hike up Lake Fork Peak. If we're successful in that, we should hit a couple other unranked 12,000 foot peaks along the way. So really this is not really an official trail, kind of just following up the ski runs right now. Obviously this is a service road, as you can tell. It's pretty good 2-track. Behind me you can see the top of lift 4. In an ideal world, lift 4 would be running for summer or fall. It's early October right now, so I guess it'd be fall fun activities, but it is not, so I cannot save myself the 2,000 feet climb. The plan is it's supposed to get really steep as we head up lift 4 towards the top of Kachina Peak. Behind me is the way we're probably going to come back. I think to ease stress on the knees and joints and stuff on the way down, we're going to take a little bit of a longer way. Should add about 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles. That should take us over another unranked 12,000 foot peak. Got about a 6:15 a.m. start this morning. I think when I checked my phone a second ago, it was like 6:45, 6:50, maybe a little later. Sunrise is at 7. This is supposed to be a pretty straightforward climb. It's more popularly done in something that's called the Peak Cirque, which if you are a long-time viewer of this channel, about 2 years ago, I attempted the Peak Cirque with my friends Will and Ryan. I did make a video of it. It's a very bad video because I stupidly was messing with frame rate stuff. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It looks really bad. It gives me nausea when I watch it. Despite being a really cool scenery, it's one of my least popular videos anyway. We made it over Wheeler, Simpson, Bighorn, Fairchild, and then after Fairchild, the rain was pretty much imminent. It was even kind of risky to go up Fairchild, but it didn't start thundering until basically we got down the trailhead. So actually, I'm not even sure if it ever started thundering, come to think of it. It was just a very wet day. But anyway, so I'm doing now the portion that I did not do, which is Lake Fork Peak. There will be a little bit that I'm not doing between Lake Fork and Fairchild Peaks, but that's all right. Anyway, let's keep heading up. It gets pretty steep right here. I'm at the base of the Kachina lift, and I was gonna just follow underneath the lift up, but there was a sign that said this way was hike 2 access. So I'm assuming that means this is for hiking to the summit. So let's give it a shot. There are pink arrows spray painted everywhere. I think I remember these from someone's trip report. Do not forget your glutes and quads to this hike. That is, even the trail is super steep. Obviously not scrambling, but whew, nice little workout there. Gold Hill framed beautifully in the morning light. Kachina Peak, unranked. I'm not sure if it's an official name, it's on maps, but USGS maps, I mean, but it's pretty about as official as it can get, given that the name comes from the Taos Ski Valley. There's where we're headed, Lake Fork Peak. First we gotta get up that mess over there. Sorry for the wind noise. There's not much I can do about it. This is the crux of Lake Fork Peak. It's the scrambling portion. This little knob up here is called Rich Peak. That's its unofficial name anyway. And from here, it seems like it's sort of a choose your own adventure. If you really wanted to, you could drop down there and I think work your way up this scree slope, and it'd be a very light class 2. This way up is a higher class 2, probably maybe class 3. And then I think I've seen on YouTube and in Peak Bagger, people who are much more experienced than I am, just coming straight up this face, and that's a class 4. So we're gonna we want a little bit of a challenge, but we want to keep it fairly safe and doable. So I'm gonna try to keep it class 3. There is some painted pink on the rocks. Maybe we'll follow that, maybe we won't. It doesn't look like there's any danger of getting cliffed out as long as you stay to hiker's right, which would be west of this main cliff block. So all right, I'm gonna head up now after putting away my poles. Got my helmet on, good to go. I think I'm pretty close to the top with just some pretty straightforward low class 3 scrambling to go. Came down there, kind of wrapped around this big boulder down there, and then I wanted to work my way up kind of more diagonally this way, but the scree is all right. Sorry, the talus is all right. The scree stinks. So I elected to move further up into this rocky area. This was pretty firmly class 3, I think. No exposure, as you can see. We're not very high up. There's just one tricky move right there for me. I'm not like, don't come to this. If you want great scrambling, Virtual Sherpa, Mediocre Amateur. I am a amateur. So anyway, so unless there's something hiding, this looks pretty straightforward. Class 2, low class 3 to the summit, no exposure again. So if you're afraid of heights, like I tend to be, this is not a peak to be intimidated by. Here we are, Rich Peak. Presumably named after a guy named Rich, or to describe the wealth of views from the summit. That was a fun scramble. Now we're heading up there, this Lake Fork, probably about 300 feet below it or so. So if you're trying to do this from Williams Lake, or if you need a bailout point due to storms, I think this would work. Probably not right here, but over at this saddle, it looks like a good enough grassy slope to bail out on. Look at that. That might be the only snow patch in New Mexico. So there's a little pink blaze that went down that way, and it didn't look like it was going to hit the trail. I can see it down there. So I just decided, or sorry, it wasn't going to hit the peak. So I decided to just scramble up this stuff. It's pretty easy. That's the summit right there, I think. Feeling the elevation today. I am that close to the top. I needed to sit down and just catch my breath. The whole family's had kind of a little bit of a congestion. I think that's making it so I don't get quite as much air per breath, because I normally don't have these kinds of issues up here. But we're so close to the top. Just gonna power through the rest and then eat a snack, drink some water, enjoy the view. We have no chance of weather today, so the only reason I want to hurry at all is because I want to get home to my family a little faster. But yeah, taking that pink route was that just screwed me. I would not do that. If you come to this peak, ignore the pink blazes are generally pretty good, but once you get past Rich Peak, I just keep the ridge. There's no reason to go below like that. I didn't think it was going to do that. I don't know where that trail goes, if it comes around or what, but it would have been so much easier just to take the ridge, I think. I'm going to show you guys some of these views. We're getting some pretty good color change. I think we're a little past peak. I think last week when I did Baldy Cabin Peak, that was about peak, but it's still intensely beautiful. There's Williams Lake. Here we are, Lake Fork Peak, I believe the 4th tallest mountain in New Mexico. There's the summit register. That looks like the tallest little rock up here. Boop. Woo! Heck yeah. All right, of course I'm gonna turn around and show you guys the scenery, but I'll talk a little bit first. Just the incredible views, fun climb. I mean, lots of scrambling, more scrambling than I thought to get from Rich Peak to Lake Fork. I thought that was gonna be pretty much a walk up. It wasn't tough scrambling, or at least it wasn't technical. It was just kind of like light class 2, let me make sure I don't fall on a rickety rock. So really incredible scenery. Seems like Taos Ski Valley is not super busy right now. I don't see anybody on Wheeler Peak. No silhouettes of people standing around, which is funny. Normally that place is a zoo. Of course, like I was saying at the beginning of the hike, this is the site of the famous Wheeler Peak Half Cirque, which is the most famous, probably the premier ridge scramble in New Mexico. At least in this high alpine area. I can't really vouch for southern New Mexico, but in northern New Mexico, yeah, it's a pretty solid, sustained class 3, high class 3, potentially even class 4, depending on which way you take scramble. That either it loops from Wheeler Peak, or sorry, Williams Lake Trailhead, over Wheeler Peak, over Fairchild Peak, Lake Fork Peak, so on down the Kachina ski slopes. Excuse me, it's hard to talk when the air is very cold up here. The cold air is blowing up my nose, and it's like crazy messing with my sinuses. Anyway, so I think, let me see if I can point it out. Somewhere around here was where Will Ryan and I bailed out on that trip. So I've done almost all of it. The only thing I haven't done is this kind of jagged ridge line. My understanding is that that's not too bad. Low class 3. No, not that bad of exposure, but yeah, so it's super cool to be up here. Loved reading through the summit register. See, there's Vallecito Mountain, which is now the last of 2 publicly accessible day hike 12ers I have in New Mexico. It's Vallecito and Versilvia Peak. I have to admit, it's kind of tempting to want to do Vallecito right now. I mean, it adds another 6 miles and another like 2,000 feet of elevation gain. So it would be a long day. It'd be 5,000 feet of gain, 12 plus miles, a lot of it scrambling. I don't think I really have it in me. I do want to get home at a reasonable time. I have a big vacation planned starting Monday, so I got to get home and pack, get stuff done. Of course, I want to see the family on my days off. I don't want to just be a mysterious mountain man where the kids don't know my name and never see my face. So anyway, let me show you guys the peak, these beautiful views, loving it. Headed down the summit. You can tell the wind has really picked up. Today is actually the first day of Balloon Fiesta down in Albuquerque. My wife told me that they almost didn't go up today because of the wind. Wasn't too bad here, but now, yeah, it's starting to pick up. You can see our route. Obviously, that's Kachina Peak down there. Instead of going down, we're going to go left over to that mountain right there. That is an unranked, unnamed 12,000 foot peak, but we're going to go down there and then take that ski service road down. just out of curiosity, I'm going to follow the blazes back to Kachina Peak rather than doing my down scramble, which I think would be fine. But I'm curious to see if these blazes are a good path after all. Fool me once, shame on me. You know how the rest goes. All right, well, we basically came around this bend. That was easier and probably faster than doing the scramble down. I would definitely, if I were you, do the scramble up. It's more fun, and it's not, lost my balance for a second. It's not dangerous. This, it's faster. There's a couple of moves, particularly right here at that rock, but it's not anything challenging, I don't think. It's the only thing that's hard about it is the rock is really loose. So you could kind of like, it's pretty easy to fall. I didn't, but you got to be careful. And I can finally see the little silhouettes of people marching up to Wheeler. Back at Kachina Peak, surveying our work. Oh yeah. So from here, we're gonna follow this ridge line down to that mountain right there. And then you can see we're gonna work our way down and then just go down to the access road. Should be pretty straightforward from here, nice relaxing hike. And then maybe we'll get a treat. Look at that. 2 hikes with creepy cabins in a row. That's more of a shack than a cabin. All right, we're here. It was a rocky trail, but certainly not a technical one. And then it got much better once we got to the saddle. Then it was a pretty good trail as ever present. I don't know where the high point is to the summit, but it looks like it's either up here on the left or back there. I think either way I have to go that way. Yeah, I think this is the high point, or at least visually it looks that way. We hit them all just in case. But look at this show. This makes coming here worth it. It's an unranked peak, obviously unnamed, but you can see those colors. Magnificent. And there's a last look at where I came from. It's been a fun day. I'm starting to get tired though. From here, it's just a road walk. It was a pretty excellent hike. I'm definitely looking forward to that beer. Maybe I'll get a sausage too if they've got them. They must, I'm sure, at the very end. But this is probably, well, this is my last guaranteed time of getting into the high country this year. It's already early October. I think by this time last year there was already some snow up here. So it's been very hot in New Mexico generally. I think it's been in the upper 80s in Santa Fe, which means up in the mountains it's appropriately warmer than it is, you know, down closer to sea level. So hopefully we get some snowstorms soon, get some precipitation, and makes getting into the high country a little harder because that's good for next year. But all in all, an excellent summer when it came to peak bagging, being in the high country of New Mexico. I'm pretty sure this is the most I've ever spent in the high country in one summer in New Mexico. And it was just amazing. A lot of cool peaks, a lot of really fun adventures. And I'm glad you guys were able to join me for it. I'm gonna be going on a vacation, like I maybe said, starting this coming Monday. And it's gonna be a big vacation. We're going to the Grand Canyon, some other places. And I will film at least one video on that. A little bit of high pointing. Probably nothing too crazy, but it'll be a little fun. Anyway, just gonna keep walking down this road. See you guys later.